trying, as is his wont, to brazen his way through it. I also, by the way, see a person who's supposed to be leading this nation through a health crisis continuing to put other people at risk. And it's really tough for me to get over that one. But other than that, I think we see somebody who's quite desperate, and we should be worried about that.
Money is so important to him in his image. And incumbent presidents have a lot of advantages, and they did raise a lot of money. It is a striking and I think at times even underreported fact, because there's so much else that's important going on, that this incumbent president, obsessed with money, has overseen a team, he's not the only one running the campaign, where they've blown through it, $10 million on a Super Bowl ad before they had a challenger. The legal fees on the impeachment was a drain that was related to his own conduct. $39 million routed in a very swampy way to the former campaign manager's own lucrative companies. When you see this, given your long-standing knowledge of Donald Trump, your uncle's obsession with money, but also problems holding on to it, what do you see here? What does it reveal?
It reveals what a lot of us have known all along. He's absolutely terrible at business. He cannot manage money. But remember, he's never had to be able to. He's never had to learn that particular skill because there's always been somebody to bail him out, starting especially with my grandfather, who over the course of my grandfather's life funneled in excess of $410 million Donald's way, which Donald, of course, squandered. And then the banks were standing in line, and then NBC through The Apprentice. And now we know that he's in debt for in excess of $400 million to people who have yet to be identified. So it's not surprising. It's not just that they're spending money in wildly irresponsible ways. It's the really odd choices they're making. They're spending money, too much money, but they're also spending it in places where it's not going to help them. I think a few weeks ago, they spent money in D.C. To counter a Lincoln Project ad. And, D.C., first of all, it has, I think, 3 electoral votes. And secondly, there's nothing that could happen in this universe that would make D.C. vote for Donald Trump. So it's just strategically reckless and nonsensical, and it's wildly irresponsible. But, it's totally in keeping with Donald's history with both money and strategy.
Yeah, it's striking with you giving us that history lesson, because so many Trump fans sort of automatically take it as a given or a general matter that he's good at this when the numbers don't add that up, just like someone who was proud of their financial standing would be able to share their tax returns, as most candidates in both parties do. So it's just sort of a factual reminder. We're going into this debate. Trump needs politically more out of it than Biden. And there has been, of course, a big national conversation about what do you even do when someone who happens to be the sitting president, just violates flatly the rules for the full 90 minutes after agreeing to the rules, because then you need more sanction than you otherwise would. And then there's been the challenge on moderators in that environment. And we've got a little bit of a comparison of 2 of them. Take a look.
I just don't know about QAnon.
You do know. They didn't say that. I know that study. So this is a little bit of a dodge. Well, the word is false. Didn't say or you don't remember. He's not an infectious disease expert. The promise was repeal and replace. So you have changed your position on this.
Gentlemen, we're now into open discussion.
Which was heavily you would have been much later, Joe.
Mr. President,
part of Obamacare.
Sir, let me ask my question. Please let him speak, Mr.
Number 2, you just lost the left.
I hate to raise my voice, but it seems to be, why should I be different than the 2 of you?
Apologies to anyone who's less in the mood to watch the debate now after just a sampling, but do you glean anything from that, given that you've been around him and his rhetorical, overwhelming bulldozer nature, and the challenge that poses even to people who, again, no shade, people who do this for a living and are decent at it, but have found themselves struggling?
First of all, it's exhausting. It always has been. but he's taking it up to 11 at this point. I think the moderator issue is an extension of a problem that we've been experiencing for a really long time. People need to stop treating Donald like he's normal, that he's going to abide by the rules or care at all about behaving decently. He doesn't. We cannot treat him like a normal candidate on a debate stage. But beyond that, what people need to understand about what's going on here is Donald is interrupting. First of all, I think he's desperate, but he goes into a debate or a town hall specifically with this tactic in his pocket because he knows that getting into a substantive policy discussion is disastrous for him. His entire administration has been a failure from beginning to end. What could he possibly say about policy that will be to his benefit? Nothing, as far as I can see. So he needs to interrupt. He needs to be rude. He needs to talk over other people. And he needs to change the subject in no matter how irrelevantly he does it.
I think you just nailed it in a way that I think sometimes does escape some of the professionals. It's like, gosh, really unpleasant arguing about the bill. Why would anyone want anything that unpleasant? Well, if that's the alternative to paying the bill and you're $400 million in debt, you'd rather argue about it. So you sort of remind us it's that simple. Mary Trump, will you stay with me? I got one more thing I want to get into with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. We're going to keep Mary Trump, which is interesting. We're going to fit in a break. I should mention later in the show, we're also going to have an update on the Supreme Court ruling I just mentioned. Brand new keys to what could happen in a contested election. Huge implications. We have that and Mary Trump coming up right after this break.